Hello volunteers, this is Great Answer and I am here to welcome you to ROPECRAFT, and this is your official orientation video because it's going to be kind of hard to get you all together right at the beginning of ROPECRAFT. So all you have to do is watch this video all the way to the end, and there will be a secret number at some point in this video, and you need to tell us the number before your shift begins. Otherwise we will think you did not actually watch this video, and the number is not 69, so just get that out of your head, okay? It's not going to be that easy. So first of all, thank you for volunteering. We really appreciate it. Whether you are a scheduled volunteer or a core volunteer or a staff member, we really appreciate you helping us make this work. By the way, we'll be looking at notes for this whole thing. Now, there are a few different staff members that you're going to get to know, but the main idea is to think of this word, the buck stop. And it comes from the whole saying of the buck stops here. And at any given time, if there is something that you don't quite know what the answer is to what to do, you will talk to whoever is your head of your section. So it could be, say, Frank if it's your if you're a DM, or it may be Oranis if you're in medical or something like that. But at some point, you may not have anything. You just get on the radio and say, "Who is the buck stop?" And the buck stop will be whoever has the ultimate decision-making power at any given time. Other pieces call them the moderator on duty or things like that. We call it the buck stop because I like silly words. As a volunteer, we would appreciate it if you would try and stay flexible, okay? It's a con. It's a bunch of moving parts going together, especially as the convention goes on and on and on. People are going to have less sleep. They're going to start to, wear out and things like that. And you just have to be flexible and be patient. When we say be flexible, that doesn't necessarily mean we'd like you to not show up to events. It is very important that you try to make sure that you fulfill the potential or the agreement that you made when you said you were going to do stuff. We've asked most people to do about 12 hours of service. Some, especially the core volunteers, may do a little more. We hope not, but maybe. Some may do a little less. We have, to try and make your time easier, have a volunteer suite. Now, at the making of this video, I don't actually know where that volunteer suite will be. So you'll just have to wait and find out. And Staples will let you know what that room number will be. And in that room, we will have some snacks. We will have some sodas, water. There's a couch that you can crash out on, hang out. It is a space for you to sort of decompress. Please do not do any drugs or have any alcohol in that room. Okay, you can do whatever you want to do within the realm of your comfort zone and the rules of the con, wherever else you want. But in the suite, that kind of needs to be a safe space for people who may not want to do that kind of thing. That also applies to playing, to sex, things like that. Hey, I'm all for you having as much sex and play as you want this weekend, but let's try and keep the volunteer suite as a place where everybody can be comfortable just hanging out. Okay? Now, you are really close to, I think we've already passed the cutoff for schedule changes. So please look at the schedule that Staples gave you and try and stick to it. Okay, we don't have much flexibility anymore. Now, you represent ROPECRAFT. Okay, you with the orange bandana are going to be the one who absolutely is the point of contact. Now, some of you have had customer service experience, and so you know how to be nice and polite even when somebody's being an asshole to you. But I'm just going to reiterate on that. Try and be, instead of, if somebody asks you a question, don't just say, "I don't know," and leave it alone. So if you don't know the answer, you say, "I don't know the answer to that question, but let's find somebody who does." And unless you are doing something really urgent, like running medical supplies to a medical person or something, actually take the time to get on the radio and stay with that person until you get it taken care of. Okay? Your radio is your place to be. Now, there's a whole other video on radio etiquette, which I think you should watch. But in case you want a short thing, it's you get on the radio and you say, "Hey, let's say you identify me. Great Answer, this is," let's say you are Bella Highwire. "Great Answer, this is Bella. I have," now would you say the person's name? No, you don't say the person's name because the person may not want to have their name broadcast all over the walkie-talkies. So you say, "I have an attendee here who is wondering where the cigar social is going to be." Okay? And then, to let me know that you're done talking, you say, "Over." And then you'll go back and I'll say, "Bella, this is Great Answer. The cigar social is going to be outside in the back of the hotel, outside of Coltrane, it about 9:30 on Saturday night. Over. And then Bella would say, Gray, this is Bella. Thank you very much. Out. Then we know the conversation is done. Okay, and that's the best way to do it. So we do want to make sure that we keep things confidential when we're going over the radio. And also, don't like go into the bar and be saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that attendee. They didn't even know where the cigar social was. Can you believe that?" Because the odds are that person is sitting behind you and is going to be, listening to that. So try and, I totally think you should have a chance to vent about whatever you need to. That's the kind of thing you do in the volunteer suite, but not out in public. One thing that's going to be important is that you carry around with you one of the programs. Now, in the middle of the program, there's a map, there is a complete class schedule, and there is a schedule of the other special events. Now, it's not complete. You also are going to have the website, but if you have that with you, you can probably answer all the questions that you need to. If you're not on duty, if somebody saw you as a volunteer, and they'll know you're not on duty because you won't have your orange bandana hanging out, and somebody says, "Wait a minute, you're a volunteer, you have to help me." You don't have to help them, but it would be nice if you'd politely tell them, "Hey, I know I was a volunteer earlier, but I'm actually not on duty right now. There's somebody over there," or "Hey, look at that," or just find them a volunteer, okay, and pass them off. Just please do it nicely, okay? It's kind of like that old Patrick Swayze movie, be nice, be nice. See, I'm even wearing the security shirt, which says "not nice." So obviously, when people come to you, if they have particular needs, you'll direct them to the people involved. Like if they cut themselves on their rescue hook, you can say, "Oh, hey, let's go talk to Uranus. Let's go talk to medical." You get on the radio and say, "Hey, medical, I need to have somebody in this area, wherever you are." Someone comes and says, "Hey, I lost my badge." That's one I'd really appreciate if you'd stay with the person, because we want to make sure they're not spoofing, but you take them to the help desk and they'll have an extra badge. If they lost something, guess where you go? The help desk. That's where Lost and Found will be. Now, if there's some kind of a consent issue, we have the Consent Rocks crew on duty. Now, the Consent Rocks crew is led by Iron Temple Dog. He has a bunch of other people. 24/7, somebody will be on duty for them. And this doesn't apply to just consent incidents. Sometimes people think, nothing actually happened. Nobody touched each other or something like that, so we shouldn't tell. No, this is for anything. This is for people who are uncomfortable, people who feel threatened, people who are worried about something, people who may have seen something they're worried about happening. All of those things apply. So if anyone has anything related to consent, negotiation, and that, please contact the Consent Rocks crew. And you do that by getting on the radio and saying, "Hey, this is me. I need a Consent Rocks crew person at this area. Over." And someone will get back to you, okay? So there's one special role that you may be asked to do, and that's being a class monitor, okay? Now, a class monitor has some specific duties, and you will have this handy-dandy little checkout guide. I know you can't really see the words there in the camera because the lighting really sucks here. Anyway, you will have this handy-dandy checkout guide in your folder. So where do you get the folder? That's the first question, right? So at the beginning of the time when you would be doing the class session, this is not the beginning of the class, this is that half-hour break beforehand, show up at the help desk, and either Ozma or whoever else is there will hand you a folder for the room. And inside that folder, you will have this particular piece and a bunch of other things too. One thing you'll have is it will say what the classroom setup should be. So you go to the classroom, Savoy A, B, C, D, D1, D2, E, F, or G, and you go, or maybe it's on Saturday, it's one of the self-suspension classes. You go to the classroom, and first you check and make sure that the setup is right. Is there supposed to be chairs out? Are there supposed to not be chairs out? Are there supposed to be mats in the room? Now, we have fantastic teams already set up. Hannah and Jaffo have things figured out so that they will most likely have things already set. You are just most likely going to be double checking. If it's not the way it's supposed to be, get on your radio, say, "Hey, this is me, I need a fixer. This room is not set up the way it's supposed to be. I need help setting it up." And then get off the radio and start setting it up. People will arrive to help you, okay? Now also check for the equipment in the room. There's a few different things where the presenter said, "Oh, I need to have a suspension point," or "I need to have a massage table," or something like that. Just make sure it's there. If it's not there, get on the radio, contact the fixer or the buck stop, and get somebody to help you out. Here's the important part of being the classroom monitor. You need to do a check-in with the presenter and their demo bottoms or partners or whatever they choose to call it. Now, some presenters will show up way early, and you can have a whole long time chatting with them. Some will show up right before class starts, so don't take a lot of their time if that happens. But here's an example of a way you could do it. You say, hey, my name is Gray. Don't say your name's Gray unless your name is Gray. I'm just giving you the example here. Hi, my name's Gray. I'm your class monitor. Let me know if you need anything rearranged or any other equipment changes. I'll be here in class throughout the class, and I'm here to help. That's about it. Ways that you can help them out: making sure they have water, making sure they have whiteboard and markers if they need those, helping them set up if they have any AV problems. If you need help with the AV stuff, you can always call the fixer for that. Just please make sure that you acknowledge both, not only say both, all of the people presenting. Okay, so if it is, for example, if it was the Deviates hook class, I believe he's going to have himself, he's going to have Lonnie, and then there's going to be another demo person. And make sure you ask all of them, not just the one person. Okay, we'll make sure we acknowledge everybody there. You'll also have a standby sign that probably will be already posted. But when people show up, some of them are going to be on the enrollment list, and you'll just look at their badge, say, yep, you go in, yep, you go in, yep, you go in. But some people won't be on the enrollment list, and they're hoping to get into the class. And that's probably going to happen because, like at New Orleans, everybody who stood in the standby line still got to. But people will stand in the standby line, just direct them to do that. As soon as a door list person shows up, if they come over and they say, hey, I'm on the list, you check them off, let them in right away. No matter, it can be 25 minutes before the class, it can be 15 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, let them in. Okay? At 5 minutes before the class starts, that's when you will let in the standby line. Okay, now some of those, maybe there'll be room for them to be hands-on, maybe not. One of the key things to know is that while we have a certain number of people on the enrollment list and a certain number of people in the standby line, the presenter gets to decide. Okay, the presenter can sit there and be like, hey, you know what, this room is bigger than I thought. Let's go ahead and have 30 tying couples. That's fine. That's their call. It is their classroom, and they are the lords of their domain. The one thing they can't do is bump somebody in who wasn't in the door list. Okay, so if that happens, just don't argue. Just call one of us, and we'll take care of things. Call the buck stop. Okay. Now, your job is to monitor the class, and you can't monitor the class unless you're actually in the class. And I want you to enjoy the class. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe this is a class you picked out. Maybe it's just one that you're like, oh, okay, this might be interesting. Maybe it's not that interesting to you. You still need to be there. I would appreciate it when I say enjoy the class. Please don't enjoy the class in the I'm going to tie somebody up and suspend them, and then I'm going to need it for something else, and I have to deal with the fact that somebody's suspended. And so don't enjoy the class to the point where you won't be able to do your job, which is to be available for the classroom people, for the presenters, and just to kind of monitor, hey, how are things going? Are things looking good here? Are people enjoying it? And at the end of the class, just check in with the presenter real quick. Say, hey, I really enjoyed your class. Say that no matter what, because you did enjoy their class because it helped get you into ROPECRAFT. Say, hey, I enjoyed your class. Is there anything else you need? Now, if they need anything else, that is not your job to do it, because you've done your class monitoring, you've done your duty, thank you very much. It is your job to relay that to someone else, probably at the help desk or contacting Naya, who is our presenter liaison. Okay, she is definitely the person to talk to if the presenter themselves have any specific needs. So